speaker of this last set is the amazing Rachel Antell. With a master's in divinity from Harvard and a master's in filmmaking from Stanford, Rachel has been editing, producing, and directing documentary film for over 2 decades. In 2023, she co-founded the Archival Producers Alliance, an organization created to influence policy and affect change within the industry. Their first initiative addresses the use of generative AI in documentary film. Please give it up for Rachel!
Thank you. Hello, hello. Thank you so much for braving the wind and being here. So, artificial intelligence is changing our understanding of the future. But what happens when it changes our understanding of the past? Generative AI, with all its power and promise, has the ability to rewrite our history, both through the creation of fake historical imagery and also by sowing doubt in what's actually authentic. Most of us take for granted that the moon landing happened, that the Holocaust happened, that the Kennedy assassination happened, and when people have raised doubt, there's always been documentary proof to keep those in check. But in the very near future, that visual evidence could be rendered meaningless. The scope of the problem is staggering. In just one recent year, there were almost 15 billion synthetic images generated, and that's nearly the same number as there were actual photographs taken during the first 150 years of photography. So this deluge of content is arriving faster than we can process its implications. And it was this concern that led my colleagues, Jen Petroselli, Steph Jenkins, and I, to co-found the Archival Producers Alliance. As archival producers, we research and verify the historical imagery that you see in documentary films. And in the spring of 2023, we began to see fake historic imagery being brought into documentaries. And it was indistinguishable from the true archival that we had been bringing in. And so we wondered, with no standards in place for transparency around what is and isn't real, how could documentary remain a trusted cultural resource? We realized that no one else in our field was talking about this in a systematic way, and we decided to step up and become that voice. As our first initiative, the Archival Producers Alliance set out to write a set of ethics-based guidelines that were rooted in the values that the documentary community had always held. The process of writing these guidelines was empowering. We learned a lot about Gen AI technology as we educated ourselves through research and through conversations with technologists, scholars, filmmakers, and legal experts. The resulting guidelines were released in September of 2023 with endorsements by about 100 industry organizations and individual filmmakers. They've been translated into 6 languages, and they're in use by documentary filmmakers now across the country and abroad. And this year, we've become signature voices on the subject, speaking at film festivals, at symposia, in classrooms, and with the press. But there is much more work to be done. As archival producers, we bridge the worlds of documentary filmmaking and audiovisual archives. Archives are the custodians of our shared history and the source of the documentary evidence that we need to understand our past. Since releasing our guidelines, we've started to hear from the archives themselves. And they've been telling us that now Gen AI is posing a serious danger to their institutions as well, both because they've been submit visual imagery that is actually fake and being represented as authentic, and also because with public trust in media at an all-time low, people are starting to doubt the veracity of their actual archival holdings. So, if historical imagery can no longer be believed, how can we safeguard the truth? access to history and a shared belief in that history are both essential pieces of a thriving democracy. But archives, which are long the guardians that we've trusted to protect this history, are wildly under-resourced and cannot single-handedly take on this looming threat. So the Archival Producers Alliance is now starting to take a belt and suspenders approach. We continue to work directly with the nonfiction storytellers, encouraging adoption of our guidelines, doing media literacy training, and also we're currently building a toolbox to assist them in the use of our guidance. But we're now also working with the archives themselves to help them create their own standards and authentication processes to verify their holdings for the public trust, because they're understandably finding this new reality overwhelming. When a new technology arrives on the scene and people don't yet understand it, we can assign it great, almost magical powers. But once we get our heads around its real capabilities and are sanguine about its limitations, it can become a lot less scary. The last 2 years have been a crash course for us in learning about Gen AI, and we've been educating our field about it. But the time is now to support innovative solutions towards preserving our historic record and to educate and support those who need it the most. This will happen through in-person sharing like we're doing here today at the Lighthouse, and through the thought leadership that we offer. We believe that we're uniquely situated to take the 10,000-foot view that's necessary to envision and facilitate a path forward. Without efforts such as these, we may soon find ourselves in a world where documentary evidence and a shared understanding of our history are simply things of the past. Thank you.